beautiful people. Welcome to the sports segment of the weekend show. I'm Ayo Adams, and today we're going to combat sport. We'll be educating you on the combat sport called Dambe, and I have in the studio with me, to my right, I have Maxwell Kalu. He is the CEO of African Warriors Fight Championship, and to my left, I have Aisha Shuaibu, a regular here in the studio. She's the president of SWA Sports, and we'll be talking about combat sports. Particularly in focus, we're talking about Dambe. So Maxwell, let me throw the first question to you. To our viewers at home who have no knowledge of the sport, can you kindly educate them on the basics and the techniques of Dambe?
So think Dambe, think kickboxing, MMA wrapped into some Nigerian flavor. So it's traditional boxing, traditional kickboxing, native to the north. So you have one hand wrapped in rope, and that's used for punching, landing these big, heavy punches. And then the other hand is unwrapped, and that's used for blocking and gauging distance. So it's an old sport, older than me and you by so many years, thousands of years old. And traditionally came from when warriors would prepare for warfare. So many of the terms in Dambe speak to that. So the unwrapped hand is called the shield, and the hand that you're punching with, the wrapped hand, is called the spear. A knockout is called a kill. And it's pretty simple. You have two warriors, two fighters, in a sand pit on a piece of ground, both fighters representing ancient houses which have sort of this lineage going back in Dambe, and it's win, it's represent where you're from, and it's come in and fight and win. That's Dambe really.
Oh, that's really so. I'm sure our viewers at home have listened to it, the Dambe techniques and a little bit of how the fight goes on. So Aisha, particularly the first Dambe events we're going to be having in Abuja, second or third, but headlined by SWA Sports. How did it come into being? What is SWA Sports, and how have you been engaging with African Warriors to get Dambe out?
Okay, so the company SERIA Sports was just founded from the love of sports and the desire to grow sports in Nigeria. You know, we really believe that sports is the future. It is a very key factor in unifying people. It's a very key factor in economic development as well, job creation. And right now, sports in Nigeria is growing at a really rapid pace. And the future that we're heading into, it's going to be very explosive, be it in combat sports, on the field games, court games. There's so many different kind of sports that we have here in Nigeria that we need to shed some more light to, because by promoting it and shedding more light on it, then you gain more interest and engagement from people, and over time you develop the ecosystem further, which is really the goal of the company. And Fight Nights came about you know, because we wanted to create a series of events that showcase different kinds of combat sports as well as other kinds of sports as well. But we're starting with Fight Night, and we're starting with Dambe because you know, from the works of the African Warriors and other people that promote Dambe, we've realized that it's been getting a lot of attention, and we want to play a part in really putting it out there and showcasing the works of organizations like African Warriors, and which is also in line with our vision at SERIA Sports to take sports in Nigeria to the next level as far as structure and development is concerned. So we want to create that avenue for support, for investment, for grooming of local African talent, which is really what we need to start focusing on moving forward, because the time is coming where we need to begin to grow our own local talent so that they're able to compete and represent our country on an international level and win and make us proud.
Oh, that's really, really insightful. Maxwell, if we look at it, every sport has its rules that guides it. Without rules, there's basically no sport. It's just random. But Dambe, are there any specific rules? As football, there's an offside rule. There's now a VAR that they used to check out things. But Dambe, and you spoke about it being local, the cultural feel that comes into it. What's the set rules that has been outlined for Dambe that if you violate those rules, you get punished, or you get eliminated, or you just don't participate?
Yeah. So exactly. So speaking to the roots of Dambe, it's more than a sport. It's more than a game. It comes from it's something more. It's more visceral. It's coming from somewhere else. So really, what we're doing with African Warriors, our goal is to take this sport global, take it to new audiences both at home and abroad. And so a big part of that has been doing this thing in terms of cleaning up the sport, building on all of the culture, building on all of the history of it, but just presenting it in a slightly, you know, making small tweaks here. So in terms of rules, so historically in a Dambe bout, you have two warriors, me and you, in the in the pit, and you punch me, I go down, you've won the bout. But that could also mean I slip over, you've won the bout. It could also mean all of these things. So what we've done is really taken lessons from MMA, from boxing, and applied them to a traditional Dambe rule set. So what you'll see at the event we're doing with SWA, you'll see 3 rounds, 3 minutes, and to win a bout, you either knock your opponent out. So it's simple and short, if I knock you out, I've won the bout. If not, we have those 3 rounds. So you knock me down, you win one round. We go to round 2. I knock you down, I've won round 2. Then we go to round 3, and the winner takes that round. And as I said, the key rule in Dambe, what really makes a difference with different sports, is you can only punch with one hand. That's your hand that's wrapped. So that's your key weapon. Aside from that, you can kick also. So it's not a street fight or anything. There are very set rules around this. There are techniques that have been refined for hundreds of years. And really what we're doing here is just putting it in a different light, bringing new prominence to it. And as you said, sort of tidying up the rule sets. But quite simple, 3 3-minute rounds. The first one to win 2 rounds or knock his opponent out wins the bout. You can only punch with your wrapped hands. That can be left or right, depending on if you're left or right-handed. And you can also kick. So
the wrapped hand, we've seen athletes, it's not beneath them to want to cheat. So the wrapped hand, can anyone cheat with the wrapped hand? Can there be anything tied to it, or strapped with it, or melted with it, that you hit somebody and the person just goes down? I'll tell you one fact about Dambe actually. So back in the day, and it doesn't happen anymore, but Dambe fighters used to fight with that wrapped hand. They used to put broken glass. Wow. Yeah. So just look, as I said, this sport is no joke. It's beyond the sport. But now, thankfully, none of that. With the wrapped hand, it's just rope. We have African Warriors officials checking the rope before anybody starts the fight. So it's just rope that's wrapped around the hand. But that rope is no joke. It's hard. It almost feels like a club. It's not like a soft boxing glove, for example. It's these hard ropes. That's all the weapon you need. All right. Aisha, you spoke about improving the concept or the idea of sports in Nigerian history. Let's take Abuja as a case study where the Dambe Fight Night is happening. How has the reception been to Fight Night that you've seen in our locality?
Well, it's been really interesting. A lot of people that may have heard about Dambe but have never witnessed it seem to be very excited. We have a lot of excitement and thrill in the air, maybe a bit of anxiety as well. Everything that Maxwell just described is very interesting and exciting, but may also be a bit intimidating for people that are not accustomed to combat events. But there's still a market for that. There's still so many people that enjoy watching kickboxing and Dambe and boxing and wrestling. And we just wanted to provide a different kind of entertainment, and that's what Fight Night Dambe is all about. And I mean, everything that is worth being done is worth being done well. So we made sure that we partnered up with professionals and picked a location that was very conducive for the concept. It's something that I don't think the people of Abuja have really seen within the city, because Dambe is such a grassroots sport. So we wanted to bring it into the city and engage with people here and show them that, listen, it's not all about football. Yeah. Like, we have so many other things that you people need to start getting interested in. So that's the whole idea behind Fight Night Dambe. And after it, we're planning on rolling out more events, more Fight Night editions, and other things that really showcase the different kinds of sporting leagues and athletes that we have in Nigeria.
All right. So, Maxwell, you also you spoke about the development globally. And to your last event, by my research, the heavyweight champ, Usman Kamaru, was at one of the events. How was it feeling like to get someone as big as him and prominent as him in the sport industry, in the combat sport industry, to grace your event with his presence? And how has the effect of his presence on that event to your company? It was amazing, to have Kamaru Usman. I think, Nigeria is probably right now most famous combat sports athlete, welterweight champion, #1 pound-for-pound combat sports athlete in the world. Come and see us, come over to one of our camps, meet our fighters, really understand the sport, take the time to wrap his hand, do some shadow boxing with the fighters. It was amazing. And he loved it. It was really great having him there. And it just speaks to the development of the sport. I think
you know, somebody could hear grassroots, local, which Dambe is, and think that this is just the Nigeria thing. Dambe is blowing up globally. And we're just putting this in event form in Abuja for the first time. But this is, you know, across our social media channels, we have over 100 million views. We have fans of Dambe around the world. Every single day, we're getting people in the US, in the UK, across Europe saying, how can I watch more of this? So this sport is already I think, one of Nigeria's best sporting exports. And we're just building on that.
Well, Aisha, if we look at it, Nigeria as a country has gotten a lot of backlashes towards our antics with our, well, citizens, maybe through illegal stuff, maybe through politics and corruption. But from last year, sports has been one thing that's taken us back into the talking points, has changed our people's overview about us. I mean, the Tigers did amazing at defending their championship. We had the young kids who went to the athletics competition and they came back doing well. Then now we look at Kamaru Usman also, Adesanya doing his own thing, and then the Super Eagles at the AFCON showing the world how great they are. So we're back into the conversation with sports. How much more do you think we need to invest in sports just to make sure that if particularly there are certain things that drag us back as a nation, if sport is one thing that if we thrive at it, it takes us up like times in multiple folds. How much investment do you think needs to be done into sports to keep us at the pinnacle of our development?
Like I said before, Ayo, you know, sports plays a really huge role in development as a whole for a country and even for a continent. Africa is a talent hub. We have natural homegrown talent, you know, and Nigeria going through so many different issues economically, especially when it comes to, you know, poverty, especially in the north. We need to start thinking of how we can get some of these kids off the street. And this is one of our agendas as a company. So SWA Sports wants to make sure that we shine light on the possibilities of development and self-sufficiency that can come through sports. So whether it's for the states, whether it's for the country as a whole, for the citizens, we want people to be able to look at the industry and say, you know what? We can build sustainability through this industry. We can create facilities, infrastructure, job opportunities. We need experts. We need, you know, when it comes to athlete developments, there's so many different categories to that, you know. So when people begin to think of sport, the possibilities that come through sports and the interest and the investment in it, then we can now begin to take it seriously. But it starts from the promotions. It starts from promoting and providing. And you know, as Nigerians, we really love entertainment. We love to just sit down and have a good time. So what better way to do that than to take pride in our own people and our own athletes and our own games, right? AFCON is happening right now. We're so excited to be leading as Nigerians. So imagine that were to happen in the different areas of sports. Let's go into the Olympics and let's dominate. When you look at the different sports industries around the world now, Nigerians are dominating. Not just in boxing, I mean in basketball, in everywhere. There's Nigerians everywhere. Why do we continue to groom athletes and then send them to Europe and America? Why does that always have to be the case? In Africa, we can already create that ecosystem. We have everything that we need. We just need more people to be interested. We need more investment. We need passion.
All right, guys, you heard Aisha and you heard Maxwell. Maxwell spoke about how Dambe is developing globally and is becoming a global sport. A lot of viewers across the world want to see Dambe happen. They want to see Dambe in more intricate form. And Aisha also spoke about how the sport is developing, how sports can create the development and economic and more job opportunities for the country. So finally, guys, where can they find you guys on social media platforms? Aisha, thank you first.
So SWA Sports, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can really find us anywhere. On Instagram, SWA.sports. On Facebook and Twitter, SWA Sports Africa. We're very open to partnerships. We're open to investment. We're open to anybody that even has inquiries. You know, the partnerships are really important when it comes to the growth of sports and even Dambe, which is why we're working with the African Warriors now, because we need to come together as young people to really push the agenda for the growth of sports and the local sports and local leagues and all of that. So please, by all means, you know, reach out to us. We're open to collaborations and we need support.
All right. Maxwell?
Yeah, so African Warriors, Instagram is best, at African Warriors FC. We're on YouTube, African Warriors Fighting Championship, and our website is africanwarriorsfc.com. And similar to what Aisha said, we've been promoting Dambe, going up and down Nigeria, really understanding the sport. So we've featured across the internet, we've featured across TV, and we're just building this sport from the grassroots. So anybody who shares that vision for taking African traditional combat sports to the new level, get in touch.
All right then, guys, get in touch with both Aisha and Maxwell on their social media platforms. That's a fine place to leave it. It was a very intellectual discussion about combat sport, Dambe in focus. Well, my name is Ayo Adams. You can find me on my Instagram and Twitter page at Ayo Adams SS. The Weekend Show is still on. Stay tuned. See you next time.